Fortune and Strife features subjects which can be uncomfortable for a general audience, such as the use of drugs and alcohol, poor treatment of people of different classes or cultures, adult situations, psychological trauma, deprivation, survival, natural disasters, and violence. Listener discretion advised. In addition, these next few episodes of the show contain cultural and historical content based upon the peoples of Asia and the Far East. We are coming at this from a place of respect and genuine interest and a love of these cultures, places, and history. We may not get it 100% right all the time, and we ask you to bear with us and give us the benefit of the doubt, and we would let us know when we get it wrong. We want to be an ally in dispelling Orientalism that has affected the Asian and Middle Eastern communities around the world. Welcome to Fortune and Strife. I am Robert, or Bayoshi Shinichi, and I'll be your host and narrator.
I am Jeanne, and I am playing Doji Gen.
I am Tyler, and I am playing Akoto Ricci. Let's play some L5R in the Burning Sands.
The next 2 days are a whirlwind of learning protocol, step, movement, proper ways of who to address and how to look, how to dress yourself, fittings after fittings for alterations after alterations. But finally, after the last couple days of being poked and prodded with needles and being tapped and critiqued and even criticized by Rafi and by Tamira, you are finally set to have your day in the Sultan and Caliph's court. And with that, the Emir it says, "We shall travel with me as my guests today, and let us hope that we all make a suitable impression and that the Caliph finds you as wonderful and fine a guest as I have." Any questions before we make our way into the Viper's Nest, as it were? Kind of gives a bit of a laugh at that, and you're not quite sure how serious to take him or not.
We shall do the best we can. The only thing I had as a question for all the protocol, really, other than, again, it's been like studying it all the way along because this is...
Oh yeah, she's got the Kazmar's courtesies already down, yeah.
Is how to best present this gift to be from everybody, or at least from the group of Rokugani.
I mean, at first Rafi is like, "Oh, well, then I'll just go ahead and take it and present it." But when you kind of go ahead and say, about being from the group of Rokugani, the Emir says that, well, in that case, we can go ahead and say that as thanks for inviting you along to the court here, that you have a gift that you would like to have presented to the Sultan of the city and the Caliph of the Faith, and that they will then have someone bring it up to him to present it to him, and possibly then to be displayed. So I guess I would ask, how does Gin want this piece to be displayed? Does she want it framed? Does she want to set it on, or how was she painting with it? Did she have it stretched onto to a board, onto a frame? How do you think she went about and made this this sumei painting for the on silk for the Sultan?
Well, it was somewhat stretched in order to do the original painting. However, you don't present it stretched when it's painted on silk like that. So
Right, exactly. Are you going to try and do it in the traditional kind of scroll hanging then?
yeah, probably that sounds appropriate, or just unroll it dramatically from my arms.
Okay.
Before him, if that seems appropriate.
Yeah, that could be. Although generally they would probably have the Emir says we would probably send a servant up to display it. but if you feel that it is important to have the artist flourish it out, then we can go ahead and arrange for that.
All right. I'll do that. I'll aim
Which
for
one?
that since the artist painted it. The having the artist flourish it. We're trying to get some attention and some impressing the court a little bit, if I can.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. All right. So yeah, that's kind of been discussed about how yes, after he's kind of presented you and announced you that you can then or he'll then say that they would like to present you with a gift for inviting them into his court, and that's when you can go ahead and present your gift to the Sultan and Caliph.
Okay.
Excellent.
I'll work on making a dramatic presentation. I might be practicing that a little bit.
Right. Yeah, you and Swaino in the background of much of the rest of the afternoon are kind of practicing different ways of furling it and unfurling it, and the right tightness to have it wound on the dowels that make for the scroll hanging, and
Okay.
yeah, you're kind of working on that for a bit. And so yeah, you guys are kind of brought in, announced as they announced the emir and his guests from a far off land, and you are kind of brought into this court that just drips opulence and decadence. There are plush cushions and low seating all around short tables of the court. The walls are adorned in geometric tiles that don't really represent anything specifically, but are just beautiful to behold in and of themselves. And the patterns and the way that they kind of endlessly repeat, but somehow still maintain a cohesive fractal pattern across the room. That there are oil lamps burning and incense that fills the air, and everyone is adorned in combinations of silks and velvets and uh, cottons of various colors and sheer scarves, and you could smell the oils and perfumes that everyone in the court is wearing to try and gain favor with one group or another, or to catch the sultan's attention, and that it is just this sensational overload as you walk in here. Again, you thought that some of the things just from the cases that the tailor brought to the fittings would have made a mantis blush. This is a mantis court in the city of storms turned up to the next level. Like Kyuden Gote would just could not even hold a candle to what is being displayed here. Uh, Things are wrought in silver and inlaid with gold and fine woods. It is just incredible, and different groups of people are smoking from multi-tubed sensors of smoking apparatus, and it also just fills the air with this intoxicating smoke of flavored tobacco, and it just your head is almost spinning right from the get-go. Luckily, the to go along with the sounds and the murmurs of court are low volume court musicians playing off in one side that luckily aren't there to overpower anyone's whispered words in court. And so that is one of the few things that you find to not be overpowering, even if it is in a style that you are not used to. It luckily is one of the few soothing things to be found here. Food is laid out in trays. You see fruits of all types and pressed juices and fine glasses of chilled water. I mean, you see shavings of ice piled up inside to make small little islands within the center of these vessels. It is the amount of wealth on display here is otherworldly. That from a culture like Rokugan that believes in stoic austerity and simplicity of minimalism, this is almost the exact polar opposite of that. But you soon hear that Amir Harun ibn Abbas and his guests have arrived at the Sultan's request, and you hear the palace just drop in volume a wee bit as you start to feel all eyes kind of swivel upon you, and you are now kind of center stage for a moment as the emir strides through confidently towards the front of the room, towards the kind of section set aside for him, a small, again, one of these small, low sitting tables. And you all set yourselves up in arrangements around it. He piles around a couple of cushions and sets one up as an armrest for himself, and has you all sit for now as you are all still waiting for uh, the uh, the Sultan himself to make his appearance. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything anyone wants to uh, specifically kind of keep their eyes open for, or kind of take in as they are now waiting for things to fold here in this court. But I'll give you a moment to kind of think about it, and we can maybe dive into those thoughts and ideas.
I think the first thing that I want to do is just kind of lean over to the rest of the samurai and say, humbleness is not a virtue here, I see.
It's going to be a lot to keep our heads.
Indeed it will be. And then from there, what I'd like to do is start to keep my eyes open and see who the movers and the shakers are. Basically, who are the centers of attention outside of us?
Outside of you. All right. Why don't you go ahead and make me because of the confusion and the newness of it all, I'm going to declare this to be a TN4 sentiment check.
Okay.
All right, what's your sentiment? I will assist, so I want to give us as much.
But because you have not met these people, I will say it is this. It's the Earth 5, Fire 3.
Ooh, we'll go with fire. And I assume that you're trained in sentiment.
I am trained in sentiment. I have sentiment 2.
As do I.
Okay, so that's fine, and my fire is 3, so...
My fire's 2.
Well, you want to assist me?
Yeah, I'll help you out in that regard.
There you are. Excellent.
All right.
So yeah, this is going to be a fear-rise sentiment check on who are the major movers and shakers.
Yeah, we might find this later, but yeah, a head start is good. All right, I am rolling sentiment 2, fire 3, assistance from Ricci, and I'm assuming only one assistance will work here. So
Yes, I believe so, because it's just two of you kind of talking and guessing from people watching.
Exactly. All right. Okay. I am just going to check to see if there's anything I want to do with my ops here. Okay, I will extrapolate the motivations or desires of another character in the scene or wider situation with one of those opportunities. And that is good, and we'll go ahead and just remove the strife with the other one. Keep it straightforward. So 0 strife, and then extrapolate the motivations and desire of another character in the scene or wider situation. But the character whose desires I am extrapolating is not the Emir. it's
Yeah.
somebody else important in the scene. So
No
we've
worries.
succeeded on the roll. So I can see, not only do I see who are in the other factions, but I can tell something about them. Maybe I overhear something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So let's see here. The other major players, there is an older woman with graying hair who is dressed extremely well, who kind of seems to be looking after the court as a whole at the moment. There is a um, an older man, large and scarred and with weathered skin, who definitely would strike you as a military veteran, who seems um, very stoic and not putting on much of an expression at all. Um, there is a woman with features quite different than the rest of the assembled Kamarist dignitaries here, who seems to hold quite a bit of power and is kind of holding her own little court off to the side, where she seems to kind of be flittering back and forth between multiple different patches. But while her hair is just as thick and dark, her skin is fairer than most of the rest of the folks here in the court. And then there seems to be a woman that nobody wants to make eye contact with, and who seems to have a very, how shall we say, um, imposing countenance. And she is just got the most incredible dark skin you have ever seen. This kind of ruddy mahogany that is both with the expression that she carries on makes her that much more I don't know, seeming both noble and terrifying at the same time. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, those would be some of the other major players that you see around court right now, kind of, uh, and being left to their own devices, what they are up to.
Okay. I am going to see if any of those people are looking at us. That is the person who I want to extrapolate the motivations and desires of. Any of the four of them.
Yes, that would be the fair-skinned woman who seems to be holding her own little miniature off to the side, where she is moving between all of the different tables and groups of people. She seems very, very interested in the samurai Rokugan without coming over to speak with you just yet. And you will get a motivation of hers, um, which is to um, promote peace through trade.
Okay, so she looks like she's some sort of trader and is
Peace
interested
broker.
in
Mm-hmm.
yeah, peace broker. So I hear a rumor that she's a trader of some kind, and
Yes, a
is
merchant
interested in
princess
trading
even
with
is
them.
kind of what the term that people would use around to speak about her.
Okay, and then since I'm theorizing, I was like, oh, I bet she would like to trade with us, and she's a
More than
merchant
likely.
purchaser,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where my extrapolation comes from. All right. I kind of murmur something to that effect to Ricci, and who has been helping me.
Oh yeah, I see.
And point out the others.
And yeah, so you're able to point out some here and there. Not sure if you guys want to ask the Emir about any of them for right now, or if you guys are just kind of content to kind of talk amongst yourselves in Rokugani.
Well, we know that he understands Rokugani.
Yes, indeed. He is. He definitely has handle on your tongue much better than you have on his.
I would say the less that we have to rely on him, the better. That's kind of my thoughts.
That's fair.
We need to try. We're trying to pry ourselves away from him a little bit.
All right. Well, it's not long after that that you hear a rise and swell in the music, and then it comes to a stop, and a servant or page of some sort comes forward and asks you all to rise, that the lord of this court, Harun ibn Mahmur ibn Jafar al-Hakim, reigned as the caliph, defender of the faith, sultan of al-Zawira, beloved by God, and supreme leader of the Kamari peoples, welcomes you to his court. And with that, a man in just fine attire and with a rather large headdress. This is what you've come to be known as a turban, and a vest, but with a without a shirt beneath it to show off his muscled chest and smooth of hair, and these very fine but loose-fitting trousers cut with a sash loosely tied around his waist comes out, and he makes himself just kind of luxuriously languishing backwards into a kind of low throne of both set furniture, but also pillows and cushions and all that set aside. And following behind him is one of the most beautiful men you have ever seen in your life. This young man who follows the Sultan about kind of in his shadow, and drapes himself almost in the same manner as the Sultan, but just slightly to the left and slightly behind the Sultan, but leaning against the chair that has been set aside for the Caliph of the Faith here, and sits back and begins to pick up pieces of fruit and feed them by hand to the Sultan himself. Guests, welcome. Thank you for coming. It is time that we begin our court sessions here with what will soon be the changing of the seasons. From now, with the harvest behind us and the cool winds to set in from the north, soon to be blowing their way past us, we are now from the warmest, driest part of the year coming into the changing of the time of the winters. Time for us to gather together and be close to one another. And with that, he kind of like reaches out and with the back of his hand strokes the cheek of this beautiful young man sitting beside the Sultan. And with when that happens, you can kind of see that the old, scarred, weathered veteran, like as stoic and as implacable as his appearance was, he kind of bristles at all that, and that you see the older woman who is just dressed very stately, just kind of her face turns sour like at that. Um, and he continues on, and it is time for us to break bread with our neighbors, to become more well acquainted with them. And with that, I have seen fit to bring into our midst those from a far off nation that have been blown here by the winds of fate to our great city of Al Zawira. Amir, if you will. And as he stands, you hear the same page declare, the prophet's voice, Amir Harun ibn Abbas, and his guests from Rokugan, declares. And with that, you know you are all to stand and make a series of introductions and bows. And the Emir says, yes, it was with great fortune that I was able to find these four, somehow blown away by magic from their homelands through the hot and blasted deserts of the burning sands. And they have luckily made it through without too much trouble. We have nursed them back to health and given them back their strength, and they are now here to even present you with a gift in the style of their homeland. And with that, he kind of motions for Gin to take the kind of center stage, as it were.
All right. Have we given our individual introductions yet, or is that supposed to be something that happens yet?
Not just yet. If you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself right now, feel free.
Okay. I will bow in the manner that I was instructed to bow, and as best as possible, and say, please allow me to present Akoto Richi, samurai of the mighty clan of the Emperor's right hand, and gesture for Richi to come forward. And
So Richi does go up and does the bow as practiced, and in a very strained voice says, in very broken Kamarist, says, "Greetings from Rokugan, O great Sultan. We thank you for your hospitality, and we are felt welcome within your court." And it's obvious that Richi has no idea what he just said, but he was practiced to say it.
Yes, Raffi has drilled it into him.
I kind of do the same presentation. I presented Richi first as being like, "Hi, this is the highest rank among us," kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like, I take the time to introduce Sueno and Hayate, and if I'm inflating their titles, I am inflating their titles without being deceptive.
Okay.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, I introduce myself, you know, and I am Doji Gen of the Emperor's left hand, and I'm very glad to have the opportunity to stand in your glorious presence for this small moment in the journey of our lives.
Very good. Sueno makes all the appropriate bows and whatnot. Hayate finds himself a bit frozen and falling back on years of his own etiquette and protocol, and just gives a Rokugani style bow. But luckily, it's so quick and everything within the whole scheme of things, it's forgotten fairly quickly, with a slight bit of derisive laughter from a few of the those in attendance.
And then once the introductions have been made, I step forward, like I've kind of been told, and said, we were inspired by the glory. We were inspired by the glories of your court, and wish to make this gift to you to express our gratitude for both our successful rescue and our gracious welcome in this court. And I let the front end of the silk fall dramatically as planned, presenting the picture of the palace as seen from in a Sumi style painting on this beautiful golden silk, and I'm hoping that this is rare anyway.
Well, it's definitely rare. Like we said, it's about rarity 8 on a general scale of 1 to 10 or so. Actually, I guess it goes above 10, but it's a general. It's fairly high. But let's see here. Let's go ahead and have you make me a courtesy check to go along with this. And
Okay.
what are you trying to kind of elicit in your presentation here, do you think?
I am wanting to elicit interest and curiosity and in us aside from the Emir. Does that make sense?
It does.
I'm trying to make people curious enough to want to know more about us, not just, oh, they're the Emir's toys and we leave them alone. Like, that we have individuality. So I will be intentionally not mentioning the Emir particularly and like spreading it out to the whole court. And
All right. What do we think that sounds like? Is that a fire to draw attention to oneself, do we think? Or is it air to be graceful and precise and maybe a bit mysterious? Although mysterious might be void. I don't know. What do you guys think in this regard? I don't think it's earth. It's not careful or reassuring so much.
I think, I mean, given my preference, I would do it as air.
Okay.
I would
But
say if you're trying to like show it off, like show us off a little bit more, so that would be fire.
yeah, but
Yeah, I could see both fire and air being properly useful here, because it's not necessarily about making a good or making a friendly impression so much as it is making a dramatic one, and I think that could fall into fire or air. I guess with the major difference is it to make a big show of things, or is it are you doing it to be a bit a little bit more calculating or precise and graceful? Because Eric can kind of fall along those lines as well, with trying to look for beauty and grace and things like that. So if you're thinking air, I will let you go with it there.
yeah, I think I'd rather have it air. I'm not trying to bring attention to myself, certainly. If anything, I'm trying to deflect it into Ricci, if anywhere. But I'm certainly not bringing attention to myself. I'm trying to be like, you want to check this guy out, and so that almost means I want to create the mystery so that they come seek us
Yeah.
out. And
Let's go with air then. I think air sounds good in that regard.
all right.
And I will give you a do it blind if you'd like, or you can know the TM.
Whichever you prefer. I'm full up on void, but I'll spend a void, so I guess
You can spend a void immediately if you want. Yeah, absolutely.
and then do it blind. Because I really would like an opportunity on this. So let's
Sure thing.
see how it goes. All right, just a second. Air courtesy. Ah, I get to re-roll some of that. I have that advantage.
Yes, you have Kamaris
Courtesy.
courtesies. That would work there just fine.
All right. Okay, that's more like it. Okay, so I got 4 successes, 2 opportunities, and 1 strife.
And you did this with air, so that will be success with 2 bonus successes.
That is great. I'm going to spend my 2 opportunities on cadence.
Ooh.
To carry a secret message that alters the meaning of what I am saying outwardly to a character who's observing. Now, this is a slight difference from normal cadence in that it's not just necessarily to one character, but it's to characters working on a level of the court, basically not to the Emir. It's basically it. So if it's only one, that's fine. But I want to carry the message in cadence that I am happy to talk to people separate from the Emir. Is that too complicated to carry in?
It's a little bit complicated, but I think we can make it work. in this case, you can use your. I will make it an opportunity plus, so that you can hit a number of people that you want. So it's two opportunities initially to do the thing where you could send a secret message to somebody else, and that'll be one person, and then you can tag additional person per opportunity that you spend.
All right. Well, I only have 2
You
opportunities,
do only
so
have
I
two
guess I
opportunities
can.
here, but you have your Doji ability.
Oh, that's true. Never mind. I have
Mm-hmm.
I have my Doji ability, and I am.
So with being ranked 3 means that you can target 4 people that you want to hit with this. So if you wanted to
All
hit,
right.
yeah, so you could feel free to target. Yeah,
Everyone, the people we spotted that were the high movers and shakers, except the Emir and the Caliph.
very good. All right, then that'll target all of them. That will hit the older woman, the scarred veteran. It will hit the merchant princess and Nahiri woman, for letting you know that you are open and here to talk and make some sort of arrangements and deals with them if they'd like to come and speak with you.
Right, as opposed to being just the Emir's property, as it were. All right, so the whole thing has been presented, and then I wind it up to give it to the servant, who I'm sure comes up at this point to carry it forth to the
Carry it forth
to
and
you.
show it off to the Sultan, who looks at it with curiosity. But you could kind of get the idea that he is not a man who is interested in landscapes or foreign artworks all that much. He's kind of distracted by it all. And he and the young man sitting near him don't really even pay it much attention at all. And a servant goes and is now trying to kind of look for a place to hang it where it can be seen, but not so much where it's can be where it's going to make much of a notice. It's not going to be center stage or anything like that.
That's okay, Doji. We're used to that. Everybody trades junk.
Every bit of data is important to a doji, even if they don't necessarily take to your gift as well as some others. And I mean, and it's not like you were trying to activate any of the gift giving stuff to go with it. But
Nope.
you will gain some glory off this. I will look that up in just a moment.
Very cool. So,
Yeah,
and I sent my message, which was the important part. And so,
you
with
did.
that, I'm
You
ready to
did.
retreat.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone else in the group of samurai want to say anything? Or is Ricci good?
Oh no, Ricci's good.
All right. Yeah, the Caliph would just make some sort of perfunctory comments of, "We are happy to receive your gift. We are sure, fine example of the art which your people find so fascinating." And it's not long after that he's busy talking about something else soon after. And then he remembers that. But you are new to our lands, and I shall introduce you to the rest of my court. And he takes a moment to still the young man next to him, who seems a little kind of pouty and upset that he has to take a moment of the Sultan's attention away from himself to turn it back to the rest of the court or to these new strange foreigners. And the Caliph uh, motions towards the older woman, who was again dressed extremely well and who seemed to be kind of the running or at least looking after the court when he wasn't there. Allow me to introduce to you my vizier, Galia El Akhtar. She is one of the proudest and most dutiful servants that a ruler could ever hope to have in his employ. She is my chief advisor and runs the administration of my empire and the city when I am indisposed. Next, of course, you have met the Prophet's voice, Amir Harun ibn Abbas, my dutiful herald and mouthpiece, who speaks for me amongst the peoples and carries word of the Prophet's inheritor in matters of the faithful, the empire, and of the city, the great city of Al Zuira. Uh, Across the room there, you might see the imposing stature of Munsif al-Bashara, the defender of the faith. He is the head of the Sultan's Guard and my chief military advisor. The old man has seen 3 caliphs over the years that he has served within the military, from a lowly soldier up to its commanding general. Next, we have a member of the Imperial Remnant, Minerva Onerapolos. She is my chancellor, my treasurer, and in charge of all duties, tariffs, and trade within the great Kamarist Empire. And then, of course, I have 2 of my closest and most chosen advisors, Mandana, the Nahiri, and he kind of snickers at the word as he says it, priestess, and of course, my beautiful long Ismail Al-Farah here, who and he kind of gets lost in the young man's eyes there for a bit, but then kind of drifts off for a moment before realizing that he should finish the introductions. This is my court, my small council, and of course, the various other functionaries, attendants, scribes, and bureaucrats that make the administration of my realm possible. I thank you all for coming, and may you welcome our guests from afar and make them feel as comfortable as the emir has within his estates here within my vast imperial court. And with that, he motions for the music to pick up and for food and drink to be distributed to everyone. May you all benefit from the wealth and bounty of the empire. May the faithful always be found with plenty and with hospitality to share with any and all who come upon their door. And you can kind of see the vizier and the defender kind of loosen from their very wrinkled and how do I want to say it? Wrinkle's a good word, but also their disapproving looks, and realizing now that near the end there that the Sultan has made some sort of proper tidings, and again, you would recognize that last line as actually one of the kind of the nameless prophet's admissions to his followers to always take in others and provide what you have for others and your guests, and your hospitality is something that the Kamaris people hold in high regard. So yeah, from there it is definitely many fruits and nuts, dried and fresh, are brought out to each of the tables. Different cured meats of different varieties are left out, and other bits of kind of snacks and hors d'oeuvres, as it were, to go along with the water and the juices sitting in, again, pools with an island of ice in the middle of them, so that you can have a quenching cool drink even in the hot late autumn or early winter evenings. And it kind of carries on like this for a bit. I'm not sure if anyone in your guys' party wants to go out and make the first move, or if you are all waiting for someone else to come to you. I'll ask that first.
Richie will take the first step here.
Okay.
And the old scarred veteran, after kind of identifying him as another soldier type, I'd like to approach him.
Okay.
And in as much as I possibly could, just as I approach him, I give the standard greetings like hello, how are you, fine weather we're having today, kind of thing. And then go along with that to see if he actually speaks Rokugani, and switch over to a more Rokugani traditional greeting for someone of his stature.
All right. Why don't you go ahead and make me, I think in this case, a water courtesy check of TN2.
All right. I have a water of 3 and a courtesy of 1.
All right. Excellent. Let's go ahead and roll that.
All right. I'll take the 2 successes and an opportunity.
There you go. Perfect. How do you want to spend that opportunity?
With the opportunity, I would like to use the ability to kind of save that opportunity, and I'll add a kept opportunity die set to opportunity for my next social check before the end of the scene.
Oh, excellent. There you go. All right. You'll go ahead and bank that aside. So yes, he obviously doesn't speak Rokugani, but he definitely returns your greeting in a very easy to understand manner of it is a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming over. Please, won't you sit with me? And he goes ahead and sits down at the table where he's at, and he offers you some of the food and drink from his table, pours you a glass of water and himself one as well, and goes ahead and raises the glass in a kind of a welcoming greeting.
And I'll gladly have a seat right with them. And in the best way possible, just start trying to talk with him from as like one soldier to another. So it's like, kind of describe, or not even describe, just start going along with like war stories as much as I could.
Okay, excellent. Let's see here. How do I want to make you possibly check for
So I guess with this one, what I'd like to try is take different pieces of just stuff on the table, different ornaments or like a spare piece of food here and there, and line them up as battle lines, and just kind of recreate one of the skirmishes that I was a part of a couple of years ago, and just kind of show it off to him as part of like on his table in front of him.
I like that. Yeah, let's go with it. So let's say that's a tactics check.
Okay.
And if you're recreating a battle that you have taken part in, let's call that an Earth tactics check.
Alrighty.
Let's call that a TN3.
Okay. That's a 3 Earth and 2 tactics. Okay. So that's going to be 4 successes, 1 opportunity, and 2 strife.
All right. How do you want to spend your Earth opportunity here?
Ooh. So I think with the Earth opportunity, what I'm aiming to do on this one is I want to add very specific details to it. Not just that, this olive over here represents, one of the unicorn like cavalry corps over here, but more like position it a little bit more accurately to what you would see. So it's almost like instead of one olive, it's a line of olives.
Okay.
and like, okay, maybe this, piece of cloth over here represents a fortification that was quickly hastened and like, or quickly built up. while we were waiting for the charge to happen. Just kind of get very specific details across.
I like it. Yeah, and I'm going to say that despite Ricci kind of thinking that he mostly just has very base kind of connection with the language, that you are steadily starting to realize that it's becoming easier and easier for you to communicate complex thoughts now, or at least more complex thoughts than you thought originally, as you move towards mastering the language. And we're going to put you at 4 of 5.
Ooh, nice.
Because I felt you were at the 2 of 5 earlier, and Gen is also at 4 of 5 at the moment now. So you guys are just on the cusp of full fluency. All right. And so yeah, the old man kind of understands what you're trying to communicate to him, and at one point you would not just say unicorn, but you would also probably mention like Moto or Shinjo, or even Horde at some point. And at which point the old man would nod in total understanding, and would start to point out like different ways in which he has fought the unicorn as well, and that this is a foe that he is also practiced and familiar with, and has unfortunately had to go up in battle against. And you guys soon find yourselves talking about the finer points of a defensive strategy, applications versus the ability of maneuver and freedom of movement on the battlefield. And that's where you guys find yourselves lost in conversation and political, and military theory for most of the evening. I'm Robert, or Bayushi Shinichi, your host and narrator, thanking you once again for listening. Remember to catch new episodes every Monday. If you want to catch them early or are looking for more bonus content, please consider becoming a supporting member of the Patreon at patreon.com/CourtGames.
I am Tyler, and I've been playing Akoto Ricci. You can find me on my personal accounts on Twitter at ChurcherGames, or on Twitch, also as ChurcherGames. You can find the show on the web at CourtGamesPod.com, on social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram under Fortune and Strife, and on Twitter at L5RFNS. If you would like to contact us, you can email the show at fortuneandstrife@gmail.com.
This is Jeanne, aka Kakita Kaori, and also known as, at least today, Doji Gen. You can find me at my blog at the Winter Garden of the Kakita website, along with helpful materials for the RPG, and also on Twitter at White Veils, or on Facebook. If you like, I am also found on the Court Games RPG podcast as a writer for Emerald Legacy, or check out The Table Is Yours for fiction readings of the FFG stories.
This has been Fortune and Strife, a Court Games production in association with D20 Radio Network and the Rokugana Historical Society.
Correctly with the correct amount.
D20 Radio, where gamers roll.
www.d20radio.com.